Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
So today I'm very happy to be talking with Meris Ota, O-T-A. And she is a very good friend of mine. I met with her in HIP Housing. We were both served on the board of HIP Housing. So I'm very glad to be talking with you, Meris. You have a very interesting journey to explain, coming from the island of Hawaii and on to becoming a structural engineer and so forth. So I will just open the mic to you and let you kind of explain your history to us.
Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, thank you for pulling me into hip housing too. It's been fun to get to know you through that avenue. Let's see where to start. So, like you said, I was born in Hawaii on the Big Island, and in retrospect, growing up there, I think has kind of instilled a sense of respect for the built environment and curiosity about the built environment because it's the stark contrast between the lava rocks and the five-star hotels that are there. But then I went to school on the island of Oahu and studied architecture and engineering, got my degree in civil engineering, and continued my education at Stanford University, which is what brought me up to the Bay Area. And after graduating with a degree in structural engineering, I spent 7 years doing that in the practice of structural engineering, designing concrete and steel buildings, before I pivoted to the world of real estate development. And I
So
worked,
that's
yeah.
an interesting pivot. Why did you decide to go from structural, a very number crunching sort of engineering business into the world of development?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I was working on a high-rise project in San Francisco, and in the construction phase, there were a number of things that were uncoordinated. and
Oh,
and I
oh,
just
oh.
realized that there was probably a role that um led to better outcomes throughout both the design and construction phase, as well as the ultimate, product that we were delivering to our clients. And I wasn't sure what that role was. I knew owners' representatives as the person who went down to the building department and spent all day there trying to get permits. And that wasn't the role that seemed well suited for me. But I did finally figure out a role of the development manager in the real estate spectrum and really have flourished there and enjoyed my time there. But what was happening on that construction project was that we needed to put in a big tower crane, and the footing for this crane was basically the whole the whole size of the property on this
Oh,
site
wow.
constrained
Oh,
lot in San Francisco. And the need for this tower crane came about, or was made known to us only after we had designed the full foundation and the
oh,
building.
no.
So there was a lot of, redesign and kind of unnecessary rework that I wanted to be a part of doing better and economizing that process and delivering better outcomes. So
Wow, that is an interesting story. So they had not figured out that the crane had to go in first, and you had to engineer the footings basically for the crane. So yeah, boy, yeah, that's kind of a big miss, so to speak. So, so
yeah,
then,
I think part of it was that the contractor wasn't on board early, and
uh,
so that wouldn't have been known without the collaboration and conversation with the contractor. So
so I suspect as you're in your development coordination, you certainly looked at those kind of things and tried to alleviate those kind of glitches in the construction process.
yeah, I think early planning and anticipation are part of that, but really just cross-disciplinary communication and coordination that leads to really synergistic outcomes for the project and for owners
So
is
then
what
you've
been through.
worked for several real estate development groups. You worked in kind of the residential side to start, is that right?
My first job after pivoting was at Ceres Regis in their commercial division.
Oh,
So doing a lot of um, development management for tech clients in owner occupied scenarios. And then I moved to a group called PMA, which is Project Management Advisors. And like Cirrus Regis, they were a privately held company, um, but they operated on more of a national scale, whereas Cirrus Regis operated on a very hyper local scale. And so it was interesting to see the contrast between how the two groups operated. Uh, and then I most recently was at Trammell Crow, which is part of CBRE, so a very, very large organization that in some ways felt very small and had a lean team, but it also was very well supported, as you might imagine, with all of the services and auxiliary teams that come with CBRE. So
Oh, I didn't realize that Trammell Crow, when did CBRE buy Trammell Crow? I didn't realize that was a subsidiary, so to speak.
that's right. Yep. TCC is part of CBRE.
Yeah,
And it's
there's
been ranked as the number one developer since in the US since 2014.
wow. Oh, the number one. Oh, really? Wow. I didn't realize
Hmm.
that. So
Yeah.
they did CBRE have a development arm originally? I guess I wasn't aware of that.
I don't know the history, the long-standing history,
Yeah,
to back
but
that up.
yeah. Well, Trammell Crow, I mean, there's some very he himself, Trammell, was a very storied developer out of Texas, right?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So I vaguely remember reading about him, and he was a vegetarian and all sorts of things that were very interesting that you wouldn't expect out of a Texas developer. So, but he developed a very good company and built a lot of things over the years. So
Yep.
great company. So now you're out on your own doing consulting on your own and kind of trying to figure out what that all looks like. That that's a fun new thing to be doing.
It is. Yeah. There's a lot of challenges that go with it, but it's a fun arena to play in.
Well, and in the meantime, you have two children that you're taking care of. And how old is Cole now?
Cole, our eldest, is 4 years old, and our
Oh,
daughter Isla is almost 9 months old. So it's a fun
oh,
time to spend with them.
yeah. So you're busy with that, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Two is like 20, they say. And I must admit, when we had our two, I felt the same way. So
I can't imagine 20, but yes, two is definitely a handful and brings a lot of joy and a lot of other things as well. But we're enjoying the time with them.
so the let's kind of swinging back to our original place that we met at Hip Housing. We had a wonderful event just last week with Hip Housing buying a new building in downtown San Mateo, and it turns out that Meris is the president of Hip Housing right now, and you've been that president what for a year or two now?
Yep, this is the end of my second year, and I've actually handed over the baton to our new president. So I've been
Josh.
involved since I first met you, Bruce, back in 2016, and you introduced me to him. So yeah, most recently with the purchase of this home of our own, Hip Housing, which does creative affordable housing services exclusively in San Mateo County, is moving into their own space, which is really exciting. And thanks to you and your identification of that property, we've got a new exciting opportunity in front of us. So
So
thank
hip
you
for
for bringing that
those
to him.
Yeah, for HIP, for those people in the audience that don't know, HIP is a San Mateo County-based nonprofit affordable housing uh, nonprofit anyway, and they have several different programs. They have a most known for their properties that they own, and they own now what, 20 properties? And they
Sounds right.
manage
Yeah.
some other properties. They manage properties for the Rotary Club of San Mateo and a few others, I believe. And they work very closely with developers who need to place their development fees into affordable housing. So they do some very wonderful programs. Yeah, I I love their they have a home sharing program, and then what's the third program I'm
home sharing, right, which is like a facilitated Airbnb, which is vetted by both the home seeker and the home provider, and then the self-sufficiency program that's
Exactly.
geared towards working parents who are also in school is the third program in addition to property development.
Yeah, no, which I love the self-sufficiency program because it's kind of a bootstrapping program to help people kind of pull themselves out of a particular situation that they might be in and get back on their feet and so forth. And in the past, it's often called the tough love program, which I thought was, you know, very appropriate. And the graduates of that program are always very grateful for having gone through the process. So
Yeah,
it's
it's a pretty inspiring group of hardworking people that graduate every year, and I always need to pinch myself when I'm at their graduations because it's just really heartwarming to see what they've accomplished and done in the context of having a family and juggling school and work all at the same time.
Yeah, and kind of making it out of their situation and kind of back on their feet and so forth. So that is
Mhm.
just a wonderful program. And the home sharing program has been very popular in terms of people who have an extra room in their house and maybe they need a little extra help or something. And HIP would provide a very viable tenant for them to have in their home. And that's always been a great program. So,
Yeah, that's a long-standing successful program of HIP, and the newest program is actually something called the Housing Readiness Program, which is a referral program. And through that program, which actually one of our past presidents launched, we're now serving over 4,000 people every year in San
really?
Mateo County. So it's been pretty amazing to see that program launch and what a success it's been in the short time that it's been online.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about that because that program actually came online after I termed out with HIP on their board and so forth. So I would like to know more about what they do.
Yeah, it's really a referral program for folks who are curious and about affordable housing and are not sure how to connect the dots between identifying the need for affordable housing and actually making it happen. So we we are able to help them with refer them to different programs, whether it's in San Mateo County or outside of San Mateo County. And it's for people who need affordable housing but don't know where to turn. And so it's really a process identification for them.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And such a great need because I often run into people. I ran into a person just the other day that actually was previously a tenant of mine in one of the buildings I managed, and she now was kind of looking for a new place. So I suspect this program would be perfect for her to try and find a new location that she could move into.
That's
So
right.
and
Yeah, it sounds like a good fit.
yeah, no, that's a very difficult challenge for people to, find housing when they aren't necessarily at a market rate situation. So it's always
Mhm.
good. That sounds like a very good program to have available in the county. That's
Mhm.
fantastic. That's great. Well, Maris, this has been fantastic. If people would like to find you for development reasons or hip housing reasons, where might they look for you?
Um, my LinkedIn page is probably the best place to land. It's Google me, Meris Ota, Merisota.
Merisota. Couldn't be easier
Yep,
than that. Meris
yep.
Ota. All right.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you. This was great. I will talk to you soon.
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.